Hey Penny Pals, coming in again, back to do a display kind of live with you guys. This is going to be, since I don't have my pins from Prime 15, I'm going to go back and do an original one from Prime 13, which was my first PAX. I didn't actually have all the pins, I didn't collect them all at that PAX. I ended up trading for them at the following PAX, East 14, and that's when I got the full set. So I'm going to go through and kind of show you the steps I take, some hints if this is what you want to do, some tips that'll make your life easier that I found kind of over the years on the different displays I've done. That'll, if this is something you want to do, then this will kind of give you a leg up when you get started. So some of the first things, obviously, you got to grab the pins. You got to have all your pins ready to go. This is still in the package, but we'll take care of that here later. So once you've got all the pins, now normally we've got a nice easy pin quest sheet handy, thanks to Penny Arcade. We've got that readily available, but since it's been a while since PAX Prime 13, I'm going to go off of the Penny Pals website, www.pennypals.com, of what everything that's labeled in Prime, I'm going to go ahead and use in this display. So that's going to be my measure of what's going to go in this display. So for pins, check. Got the pins. And then we have to figure out what else do we want to put in this display. Do we want it just to be the pins? Do we want it to be pins and badges, pins and patches? What are we going to do? Me personally, I like to include at bare minimum the pins, my badges, and the patch from that. So I'm going to have to go and dig around here in a little bit to try and find my extra PAX Prime 13 patch so I can include it in this video and in this setup. So I'm going to use, I was only able to go Sunday and Monday for my very first PAX. On my Sunday badge, I thought, oh, well, I can get Gabe and Tycho, and I actually also got Chris Stroud to sign this badge, so it's probably going to be something like this, just kind of showing off, look, here was the front, and here's the back that I got signed. I'm also, like I said, going to try and include that patch. Once I go find it, I'll show you guys. So one of the things you need to think about is color palette. It's the most basic principle of what's going on. So since this is PAX Prime, I'm going to go with blues. I'm going to stick mostly to the kind of blue accents and colors that accent those blues really well. Which, if you look behind me, that's kind of what I've got set up back there. So we're going to, we've got the blue theme going on. I have a little mat that I'm going to use to kind of lay the pins out, which is blue. It's not the exact color I'm going to use, but it's something similar. I'll just have to see what the frame shop has with regards to mats of that color, but this will give me a good baseline to kind of know what it's potentially going to look like. If I find a color that I like better, even better. So I'm going to go look for that patch real quick and then we'll get started. Okay, so here's kind of everything I want to include just on a little mat that's going to be approximately the color I'm wanting to work with. It's all the pins. Really shaky because I'm trying to hold my iPad still here. They're still on there. Some of them are still in their cardboard backs in their packages. I left them that way because I knew that one day I'd want to put these on a display, and so I kind of needed to preserve them as best I could. Mostly the behemoth ones because they were just in their little chonka balls and other things that I've had to trade for over the years. I'm going to go ahead and polish some of these up, and I'll kind of go back over that little polishing cloth I showed you guys in my last video. But here's just an overview of everything I've got ready to go, and then I'll take them off their cardboard backs and start working up some of the display and how these are going to be arranged. Okay, so when we start talking about putting our pins up under glass in a permanent thing where we're never going to be able to physically touch them again, we want to make sure they're in the best condition possible. Just, if this is going to be something that I'm going to put up on my wall, I want it to be something I can look at and not have my OCD kick in where I see a fingerprint or a smudge or something like that. So I'm going to show kind of two different solutions to smudges and dust and things like that. So first, I've got Elspeth here. Elspeth, it's got a lot of gold accents to it, really shiny pin. It's been sealed the whole time since I got it from the Wizards of the Coast booth. So it doesn't have a single fingerprint or smudge or any tarnish on it whatsoever. So I'm just going to take care to hold this kind of by the edges so I don't get any fingerprints or smudges on it, and she will be good to go. Same holds true with the PAX Prime 13 core set, which is one of my favorites still to this day. Tycho Tot, Baby Gabe. I actually have the print that inspired this, a print of this comic that inspired these pins hung up on my wall right over there. I love that comic. I love the sprites. I love that whole kit and caboodle. Also, of course, for everyone out there that's a cat fan, Kitty Kemper, still probably one of the top Kempers, but all Kempers are popular. I'd actually had to trade both of my sets of extra that I had of that particular pin set for my DLC pin that I traded. So big thanks to my good friend, the Aggro Craig, or as I call him, Craig, for hooking me back up with an extra set so I can make this display for myself and to show you guys how I do all my displays. So let's talk about some of the pins that have been handled a little bit. What's this? Granok. So it's kind of a neat pin. It was one of the first. Kind of third party. It was from WildStar. You probably can't make out, but it's really dull. It should have a nice sheen to it. It's just got a little bit of tarnish on it from just handling, and I've moved 5 times since PAX Prime 13, so I've had to package them up and put them away, and I've taken them to different PAXN just to show them off and stuff like that. So if something doesn't really have a lot of tarnish and it's just fingerprints, you can just use pretty much a standard microfiber little cloth, and that should take care of all of your smudges, your non-tarnished fingerprints, smudges, things like that. Just a real quick rub, maybe like get a little humidity on there, rub it down, and that's not too bad. But just for demonstration purposes, again, you can buy a microfiber cloth anywhere these days. You can buy them at a convenience store, you can buy them at a department store, you can buy them on Amazon, anywhere you want you can find a cleaning cloth, because they're used for touch screens, and pretty much every device we have now, there's a little cleaning cloth for it. So those are not hard to find at all. This, like I showed in my last video, is actually a jewelry cleaning cloth specifically for things like silver, gold, platinum, anything kind of non-porous. So when you start talking about porous jewelry material, you're talking about ivory, pearl, gem, lapis lazuli is a porous material, an opal, stuff like that. So metals is kind of what this is focused on cleaning. This particular brand, some are like double-sided, some come with multiple cloths. This one's broken up into 2 parts. It's broken up into the part that breaks up the tarnish and kind of removes some of that, which is this part in this particular cloth. And then this is just kind of like our microfiber polishing cloth. It's actually got 2 sides that are kind of different textures, and so I'll run through that real quick with old Granok here. Again, the detail on my camera is not all that great, so you guys might not be able to appreciate the difference in luster, but I will definitely give an unbiased opinion here on how this works on our... I never played WildStar, so I don't know exactly what this guy is. He looks kind of like a rock guy, and Mickey, what is it? Mickey Rourke, like just, but I don't know. So far, yeah, it took care of pretty much all that little bit of tarnish that was on there. Kind of got a lot of the oil and stuff off of from my fingers and other people's fingers where it's been handled over the years. So that was with the yellow or off-white cloth. Now I'll give it the polish, make it shine, make it sheen. real quick here. I know this is super exciting television or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I give this, for this particular guy, it went from probably a 6 or 6.5 to a 10 on the shininess level. Yeah, got a whole lot of that luster back that you guys may be able to see. I'm trying to make pop for you, but yeah, that's awesome. Another set of the pins that kind of had that same thing was the first run of our beloved Behemoth, which are now a staple of PAX Prime and PAX East. This one still has a lot of its sheen, but a lot of smudges and kind of stuff that's just not coming off with my microfiber cloth here that I've tried. It's still pretty shiny, but when you look at it up close, you can see the details are kind of smudged up a little bit. So I'm going to give this another good wipe down, just like I did Granok. Give old Hattie some love here, because out of all the first run Behemoth, I think Hattie is probably my favorite, either Hattie or Catguard. I'm not a big cat person, but Behemoth, I think, makes great characters and great pins for the most part, with maybe some of the more recent ones aren't all that hot, but I've never actually played a Behemoth game. I need to get on to Castle Crashers or something like that to give them some attention. So even more shiny than before. So that is awesome. So if any of you are on the fence about getting one of these little jewelry cloths, you can buy them on Amazon. I'll jump on Amazon real quick and put a link in the description here to one of these cloths that's similar to the one I'm using. You may pay a little bit more just for shipping, but if you're a Prime member, you can get the 2-day shipping for free. Again, mine's just kind of like this. And then on the inside, this is the business end. This gets all your tarnish off, and then this polishes it right here. So yeah, I'll toss up a link to some on Amazon in the description here, so you guys can see for yourselves. If you're just waiting for someone to give you their seal of approval on using one of these to clean up pins, thumbs up, 100%. I'm really glad I paid the, what, $3 for this little bad boy, so this will make my display pins a lot prettier. So I'm going to go through it. I'm going to clean all these up, get them all polished up and ready to go, so you guys don't have to sit here and listen to me ramble on about pins while I polish each one, and then we'll get started. All right, so I've arranged my pins kind of in just a real quick, rushed, some semblance of order. This was the first big amount of pins thanks to Behemoth. Behemoth got all on board early on the Pinny arcade, and you can see all of our Behemoth pins here and here. Like I didn't want to lump them all together because it would be so heavy, it'd be so weighted on one side, so I kind of just made 2 columns there for the Behemoth, and then that leaves us with some other, I like grouping all 4 of these together because we've got the Skull Fart from wow, just like Scott Kurtz. Man, I'm so sorry. Scott Kurtz did this is Skull from his PvP online. Great comic. Definitely, if you haven't for some odd reason checked it out, definitely go check it out. Great character, great pin, and it was his first. It's also one of the, I believe, the only pin with a black back here. So this is official. This is real. It's just when they were kind of early on testing different ways of making the pins. We've got Strip Search, which became a huge part of Penny Arcade and PATV and some of the great stuff they've done, and has now given us some great artists, exposed all of us who may not have been exposed early on to some great artists out there. You know, Katie Rice, Lexi Douglas, Maki, Tavis, all these, you know, and everybody else. I just kind of listed them in my order, but I mean, they're all great in their own way. They just kind of have started falling off PAX and started to go do kind of their own things, make their own way. And it's great. They keep putting out great stuff. And it was because of Strip Search that now we know, for the most part, know their names. So I'm putting this pin kind of right here, centered and grouped up with these other ones, because these are all kind of not They are official Penny Arcade pins, but they're not from the merch booth, and they're not exactly partners. They're kind of like in between some of the third party like Behemoth and Windborne and that stuff, but they're friends, I guess. Friends of Penny Arcade may be better. Loading Ready Run, Professor Pigglesworth, still one of my favorite pins to date. It's a pig in a cup with a top hat and a monocle. I don't really think you could fit much more awesome on a single pin than a pig in a top hat with a monocle. And then we've got Chainsaw Suit over here. Chris Straub's one of his many projects, Chainsaw Suit. If you haven't checked that out, I highly recommend it. Just Google Chainsaw Suit and it's going to be the first one there. I bought one of the first books he put out and had him sign it at this particular PAX. Cool pin, just real simple, real easy, and kind of really summarizes the whole comic. Very, very iconic, which I think is what makes a pin. One of the things that can make a pin really awesome is just being a real good icon for that particular brand. Up here we've got the show pins, the official from the merch booth, Tycho Tot, our logo, Kitty Kemper, little kitty all wrapped up in a scarf, which is, for if you're a cat person, that's huge. And then Baby Gabe. And I did find my patch, even though I've moved 5 times since that particular PAX. I found my extra patch, so that's going on the display. My badges are kind of the central piece here because I got them autographed, and then that's my very first PAX, and I want to show that off. I always love putting the badges out there. I don't know why, just kind of one of my things. Not to miss out on any of the other cool pins, this guy here, Draken, I believe was the name. It's been a while. From Wild Star, never really played the game, looked cool, but just never could get into it. The Juggernaut from, what is it, Defense Grid, I want to say is the name. It was kind of a tower defense game that you could just run through. You could actually get a whole lot of those pins if you were there and knew what you were going after. Rayman from Rayman Legends. If you pre-ordered Rayman while you were at PAX, you could get this pin. I think most people probably just pre-ordered and then canceled the pre-order, but maybe I was the only one, I don't know. All of our, well, not all of our, but some of our Behemoth pins here: Catguard, Star, Cardinal, Davy Crockett. Let me go over here, we've got Elspeth, one of our staples, Magic the Gathering Planeswalker pins right there. We move over, we go back to Behemoth with our Giraffe, our Bloodbear, Haddington, and then our Viking. Down here, Second Son was the name of this pin, or the name of the game that this pin inspired. It was just kind of the logo. It's always been a really cool pin, but just kind of not super popular. This was from a game called Windborne. This little guy's name is Jin. I don't know how that game ever did. It was pretty much, for the most part, a Minecraft clone, just with a little different perspective, but everyone kind of felt, oh, it's Minecraft, just with different names for stuff. Cute pin, but don't know how well the game did. And then the last pin here, the guy that you saw me polish for a while, Granok from Wild Star. Really polished now, looking great. Loving how that cloth worked out. So, kind of big picture, I think this is what I'm going to go with. There's not a lot of symmetry to everything, so I'm just kind of wanting to make it smooth. If you look at kind of this section right here, the badges up to the patch and all that in between, I'm going to inset that, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. I'm going to use 2 different mats. So I'm going to show you my East 14 frame here again. You see how the badge and the patch and those two, the limited edition pin and the logo pin, are kind of inset in a base mat? I'm going to do the same thing over there. I'm going to inset that, probably silver or a light gray inset, and then all the rest of the pins are going to be on a kind of a darkish royal bluish mat on the outside. So we'll see how that works out. I'm going to take all these over to the frame shop and get started on that. I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the videos in 2 parts. I'm going to show you all my prep work. I'm going to get it all ready to go. And then I'm gonna, if they'll let me, I'll take video at the actual store to show you guys kind of what I do once I get to the store, once everything is packaged up and I get over there and get everything set up so that they know what I want to do. So that is it for this video. I'm gonna, like I say, I'm gonna take everything, and it's important to know when you're transporting your pins, you want them to stay safe, obviously. I don't think I would have to tell anyone to keep your pins safe, but especially in most of the people that are gonna be watching this video. But just bear that in mind when you're transporting them out in the real world. People don't place as much sentimental value on them as we do. To a lot of people, it's just random pieces of metal, but to us, they're great little pieces of art, pieces of memorabilia and things like that. So bear that in mind when you're transporting. If you want to go super safe, you can individually wrap each one. I don't go to that extreme. I usually just put them all in a chunk ball and put that in a bag and take everything, put it in a bag for when I get there. And then I always bring a little microfiber cloth or something to polish them down to rub off the fingerprints, so that when I hand them to the person, so that that person is going to be the one that frames them, so that they know, okay, it's clean, this is what they want them to look like when they're done. Most of the time they'll wear kind of white gloves so that they don't get smudges and fingerprints all over them. So like I said, I want to divide this video up into two parts. This is going to be the end of this part of it. And then, okay, Daxie, sorry. This is going to be the end of this part. And then if they'll let me, I'm going to film actually laying it out for the person, telling them what I want and how I want them to actually execute my idea for the frame. If they'll let me, I'll do that. If they won't, I'll try and just do a quick summary. And my follow-up video of this one will be the reveal, once it's all done, how it's going to look once it's permanently under glass. And then I'll kind of go over that. I've got another video coming up as soon as my pins get here for Prime 15, how I go through that. There's a lot more pins. There's a lot more to do. So it's going to be a little bit longer. It's going to be more detailed, and you guys will kind of see more of my thought process about how to arrange them. Something to bear in mind, there's no right or wrong way to arrange these. This is just what is fun to use. Some people get, like, I've seen a lot of people talk about how they don't know what to do with all these pins. It's just a pile of all these show pins. I don't know how to organize them. Well, it's up to you. Do you want to organize them by style? Do you want to organize them by game? Do you want to organize them by color? It's all going to come down to what you want. Aesthetics is exactly that, aesthetics. It's what's pleasing to your eye. If you want to please other people, then you ask other people's opinion what you think is look good. If you want to please yourself, you've just got to look at them and mull over it until you find something you like. Move one, play Tetris. Play Tetris with the pins until, you shift one up, shift one over, move one over here, flop these until you find something you really like and that you're satisfied with. And then that's when you take it, snap a picture of it with your phone, which is what I'm going to do. And then load up all the pins, take them to the store to get them custom framed. Or if you're using your own personal frame, like one of those great Amazon ones with the door on it, those are a great solution, but you don't know how you want to put them. Do you want to just line them all up, or do you want to arrange them in a pattern? The beauty of those is you can change that. You can say, oh, I don't really like the way they line up, or I love the way that this shape looks, or I love grouping the pins by show and how they go like that. So there's no right way, there's no wrong way. You just have to find what you feel. Do what you feel, and hopefully you love what you make. And if you don't love what you make, or if you just can't decide on something, there are a dozen great resources out there for pins. You can check the forums, you can check any of the WhatsApp chats, Slack chat, either of those. We're all on there most of the time, and you can check us out. You can message me, you can post in comments like for advice or anything like that. I'll be happy to help anyone that wants to delve into the realm of custom framing and help them kind of work on a layout and how they want to give them something unique. So feel free. You can hit me on Twitter. You can hit me on Facebook, any of those. The forums, WhatsApp, Slack. I use the exact same name for everything if I can. So just go there. It's at Kumaden, at Qumaden on any kind of social media or anything like that. And you can find me if you're looking for specific advice, or again, any of those forum resources are great tools as well. So thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you back for my follow-up video for this one, and then my next set for the Prime 15 framing. Hope you guys enjoy, and